Welcome to the ECG podcast, a show where some East Coast buddies who have never met in person gather remotely once a week to hang out and talk about our love of video games and other shared interests. On this week's episode for April 30th, 2021, we're going to be doing some reviews of both Mortal Kombat, the new film, and Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll also be giving some impressions on Second Extinction, the new Left 4 Dead clone involving dinosaurs. And finally, we will be talking a little bit about the reviews scores, I should say, that Returnal is getting. Very, very excited for that. I'm one of your hosts from Jacksonville, Florida. My name is Chris Waterman, and tonight I'm joined by newly affiliate Mr. George Arevalo. You did it, buddy, from Miami, Florida. Congratulations.
What up? Thank you, guys. Yeah, I had a lot of support over these past few weeks. Thank you to all the friends and homies that came out to support. But yes, I am a Twitch affiliate as of this morning.
It's exciting. You can
quit my day job,
make 50% of whatever you get. I've always found that to be a little steep myself, but yeah. And then of course we got Mr. Zach Cassell joining us back from Boston, Massachusetts.
Draft night.
Yeah,
go Pats.
Got to be super excited. My position for the Jaguars, who I think I've said very publicly and openly, I am not really like a fan of. Like I like going to their games, and it's fun to support the home team, but I have no emotional investment. Can't get any worse for us. So like whatever happens tonight, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is the apparently the like the most open secret for our first pick. Hopefully they don't fuck that up.
If there's any time to be any time to jump on, like right at the beginning of the Trevor Lawrence, what's the word I'm looking for? Era.
Yeah.
In the
as a Clemson graduate too, it like kind of it's one of those things. Like I feel like I don't have much of a choice now. Like I'm a Clemson alum. Like, and it's one of our best quarterbacks coming to play like for my home team. If nothing else, it'd be great to like just go hang out and see him play. Like on the weekends.
Yeah, so. Seems like a good guy, and your brother's gonna be insufferable now. With Trevor Lawrence, man.
Maybe I can get him to actually come down and hang out and like go to a game.
Probably will now.
Yeah, the only time he was ever interested in coming down was when our other big quarterback, who was having some problems now, would come into town to play. So. All right, let's jump right in. I think let's start with Mortal Kombat. Streaming simultaneously on HBO Max and released in theaters. What was it, last Friday? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it came over the weekend. Yeah,
we're recording this on the 29th, so yeah, it came out on the 23rd. What'd you guys think?
Who wants
to
go
first? I really enjoyed it. I went in not expecting plot. I went in expecting fatalities and gore and all that, and in that aspect, I totally wasn't disappointed. I thought the main character was as dull as could possibly be. Yes. Dude. Just unfortunately didn't add anything. Like I just kept waiting to see characters I already knew. Like I wasn't. He gave me no reason whatsoever to be interested in him. But when the Mortal Kombat characters were on the screen, yeah, I was enjoying myself. Man, Kano was hilarious. I enjoyed myself. I'm excited to see where it goes if they do, because they said they have plans for I think 4 of them. Right, if this one does well.
Wow, so, yeah, I hadn't heard a number, but it's very obvious. And I will say, like, sorry if you're listening. Spoilers. Like, we're gonna talk spoilers here. Like, so if you haven't seen it and you plan to, like, hit pause. I would say to be on the safe side.
Did I say anything?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, cool.
No, but I will.
Fast forward. I don't know, 20 minutes to be safe, and hopefully we'll be on a different topic. So that's your warning. Go right ahead, George. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So I loved it. Just like you, I went in there expecting no plot, and I got exactly that, no plot, which is fine, or rather a very weak plot.
They kept talking about the tournament, and then we just never saw it.
Yeah, so look, there's a lot of things they did well, and there's a lot of things they didn't do so well, you know. But given where my expectations were for a Mortal Kombat movie, and I also helped temper those expectations by refreshing on the gem that is Mortal Kombat Annihilation the night before that we watched this, was to just, I started just fast forwarding through it and just reminding myself. That's, you saw in the Discord chat, I just started sending photos, screenshots of that movie, and it's just like, all right, like there's, you know,
It can't be worse than this.
it can't be worse than this. So you know, and we talked a lot about it leading up to it. I'm like, I want some violence, I want gore, I want fatalities, and I want cool fight scenes. And on that, they fucking delivered, right? They absolutely delivered. The action, the choreographed fight scenes are awesome. It's very violent, it's very gory without it being too much. I enjoyed all of it. I like how much they paid homage to the video games. Like the characters were doing like some of the basic moves and or not, and not so basic moves from the video games. I mean, I know you guys caught the Liu Kang low kick, you know,
And he
like
kept
sweeping
jumping.
low kick. Yeah, and he kept jumping over.
He's
It
like, is
was
that all you can do?
yeah, it was so funny, man. I absolutely loved it. Cole Young, right? Big swing and a miss. You know, I thought they were gonna make him the new Scorpion, which, but no, they instead they did something worse and just made him a new character. It would have been a little bit cooler if he turned in, he had some Scorpion stuff and he was actually like, he carried the line, you know, in some way, the bloodline. I think that might have worked better, but I don't know if he's a bad actor. I haven't seen him in any other work, but he wasn't given much to work with, man. They just made him like, you know, hero A. Like, hey guys, we can do this, you know, like if we just band together, let's do this. You know, so he was kind of lame in that regard, very generic, very bland. But I don't care. Like that's not what I was looking for in this movie, you know? It's not what I was looking for. You have to acknowledge that this is not a good movie in terms of writing and plot. But and he's not the only flat character in this movie.
No,
I mean,
I'd
God,
argue
Sonya is horrendous.
almost
Um,
every like hero character.
Well, you know what? Like if we go through them, right? So I have, so the main ones really. You've got Cole, whatever. To me,
And his
Sonya,
power was whack.
yeah, that was whatever. So there was some dumb scenes. Like there was the one scene where Melina teleports behind him, and she could literally stab him in the head, but instead she hits his armor in the back, which didn't make any sense. But whatever. But to me, Sonya was boring as hell too. Like she was just like so generic, and I think she did get good lines to work with. I just feel like she wasn't very compelling. I liked her story where she didn't, you know, she was more like natural, didn't get her arcana or whatever until the end. Um, you know, but I wasn't feeling her portrayal particularly well. I thought Jax was cool. I thought he fit real well. I thought Liu Kang was all right, but I don't think they made him too much of a side character. I feel like I get it that they maybe wanted to stay away from the original movies, but Liu Kang is arguably like top 3 most popular characters, right? And he was very much like just like a side character here. Wasn't you know, I feel like he could have been involved a bit more, maybe a little bit better development on his part. But overall, I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. It was a little disappointing that there wasn't a tournament, you know, and they did this makeshift tournament where like, okay, you fight him, I fight him, you take it, like, you know, and then we'll meet back up together, because they were like kind of running out of time. I hope the next movie actually sets up a tournament. And I'm going on a tangent, but the one other thing plot wise that I feel like they kind of fucked up, and they fucked it up unnecessarily, is they completely devalued this tournament, right? Because like they said, if I'm not mistaken, they had that the Outworld or whatever, right, had won 9 consecutive tournaments. They just needed to win one more, and instead they want to invade, which is against the rules, but like fuck the rules. And he even says that he doesn't care, nobody can stop him. So like,
Why not just win the last tournament?
Yeah. Why not just win the last tournament, or like why fight the first 9 tournaments? Like if you could just do this and fuck with everything. That kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And you even have like Shang Tsung saying like I do whatever I want. No one will stop me. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I do hope they write some of that stuff in the second one and they just kind of get into the tournament because I want to see a fucking tournament because I think that's where they delivered in the action, the fight sequence,
And
all that stuff was great.
that's how you can like Mortal Kombat has such a large cast of characters, right? So a tournament is an easy way for you to cycle through all of them, even if they are on screen for 20
Yeah.
seconds showing around real quick. Like that's
Yeah.
at least you could get your noobs and your what's the Night Wolf or Nighthawk, whatever that dude's
Johnny
name is.
Cage, Johnny Cage.
Yeah, I mean
we'll
they
talk about that in a second. Like, because I as part of the conversation, I do want to say like, who do we want for the next movie for cast?
course.
Johnny Cage conspicuously absent from this one, but yeah, go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's cool. I was pretty much just saying like a tournament's an easy way to introduce a large cast of characters that you don't plan on using plot wise. So
Yeah, like thinking back to like the original Mortal Kombat, right? Like they have like there's like a section like smack in the middle of that where it's basically like 3 to 5 minute fights, and it's just like in a row where it's like Scorpion and Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, and like Sonya and Kano, and like that works for a while. Like you like easily kind of melt into that 20-25 minutes of like just fight scenes, and it's fun because it's like, all right, we've set everything up. Now here you go. Here's the matchups like you've been wanting to see like for the movie, and like just enjoy like the no introduction needed. Like it's just suddenly Johnny Cage and Scorpion are in the woods, like and they're fighting. Like so yeah, I mean, so everything you guys say, like I'll have said, I'll echo. I mean, I think the further you put this film under a microscope, like the less like it kind of holds up, like it kind of crumbles. But that's not really the point, right? Like if you kind of know what you want or like what Mortal Kombat is going into this, like it's kind of impossible not to have a good time. Like Kano's by far the strongest character, and it's it's a shame that seemingly doesn't make it out of the out of the movie.
oh, he's definitely coming. He didn't even get his plate yet.
George and I were saying that like they're gonna like have to take that, like whoever wrote Kano needs to write Johnny Cage, and he needs to be kind of the new comic relief. Like he's got to be like your Tony Stark character, like
For sure.
in the second one, because I think that went a long way, like in the movie, in my opinion. Like the humor was something I was not expecting nearly as much, and it was like a very delightful surprise to like I think scenes that otherwise may have been kind of bland, like having him there just like talking shit really kind of like kept you going,
Harry
right?
Potter
Like,
shit.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What about me, Gandalf? Like, that was fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, really like a nice surprise. I will say like I in certain sequences I kind of miss the practical effects. Like I think we were even talking on mic when we were watching it, like the Goro fight.
They wasted him, man.
It was
They didn't
so
even explain
bland.
Goro. They
It
were just like,
wasn't-
"Oh, Prince Goro, we're so glad you're here." Blah blah blah, and then he was just fighting, and then you don't see him again.
Yeah, it was.
He
I
gets
mean, this
killed
movie
by
was.
Cole, but yeah.
This movie was all about Sub-Zero and the Scorpion thing, and sprinkle in a little bit of Cole Young, but yeah, like Goro's a massive character in Mortal Kombat lore. Like he's one of the most powerful characters, and they just sent him off to like go do a side mission. Like it's it was really
In
weird.
the OG game, he's the penultimate boss before you get to Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
He was the one that people dreaded because like it was kind of like
He's
having like a
arguably
run
tougher,
where like
yeah.
you get up the ladder and then like shit, fucking time for Goro. Here we go, and he could whoop your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, not to mention not having him do some like get some wins. Like you need to see him like straight up shred some motherfuckers,
Yeah,
Rip him in half like on the poster.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. So they definitely rushed some things because they spent too much time doing bullshit with Cole Young,
when watching this movie, I kind of had the feeling like, okay, like I know like it's a little riskier to do a TV show, but I almost kind of wish this would have been like a 9 episode or 10 episode TV show where like if you really wanted to like take the time and do all the plot bullshit, like you had a little more time for that to breathe, and you probably could have done a tournament or like had like a little more like time to spend with like all the different like fighters and characters and stuff. But I know it's risky. Like television shows are a whole different beast nowadays. But
Yeah.
I did kind of wonder, do you guys think this would have like worked better or would work better as a TV show, like if budget
Easily.
and everything was the same?
I don't know, man. I feel like we do that a lot lately. Is like, oh, this would have been better as a TV show because the TV show is the cop out for having more time to do everything, right? With a big cast of characters. So yes, 100%, the TV show could have worked better. Because I would argue it's easier to do a TV show from a creative standpoint. You've got 10 episodes. You've got plenty of time. You could have a fight per episode and have good development up until then. But I think you can make a good Mortal Kombat movie without you can make a good standalone Mortal Kombat movie without that. Like,
Sure.
like if you think of like we were talking about this, right? Like the Bruce Lee movies, Enter the Dragon. Like you've got a tournament style in there, and you've got pretty solid character development for the key guys and a lot of side characters that get enough screen time, right? Like let's be honest, like Melina's not that big of a deal, and she's in this so much. Like you could have had her in a fight, kind of like just random henchman and had her do her thing instead of having the amount of screen time that she had. Same thing with Kung Lao. Like Kung Lao, also not that big of a character compared to Liu Kang. Like Kung Lao outshined Liu Kang by far in this movie, which like Liu
Till
Kang
the
is a
end.
more till the I mean yeah, spoiler alert, but I mean he has a bigger impact in this movie than Liu Kang by far. And he's also, I think, better portrayed too, to be fair. But they just made some odd creative choices that I necessarily wouldn't have made. But again, I'm not a director, but that's kind of my thing with it. I think you can do a good movie. And if we get that, like fine, Cole Young's already in there, but you got to just kind of get straight into the tournament. And
You can still kill him. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, you can, but I'm saying you got to get right into it, and just start just having these fights, this whole tournament style thing, and maybe you have a plot in there where Shang Tsung's trying to cheat the tournament, and you've got some stuff going on behind the scenes in the middle of the tournament for you to have some drama and suspense and plot instead of just fighting. But it can be done. There have been movies that have pulled it off in the past, so it's there,
Yeah,
They better make it happen.
ensemble movies are tough. I think like to have like I think they definitely were bursting at the seams with the number of characters they had already. Like it's hard to give everybody their due, in like a 2 hour movie
Yeah.
like that. So, good segue. So obviously we had some conspicuous absence. They very very obviously like teased that Johnny Cage will be in the next movie with a nice little pan to a poster on the wall. And Cole Young saying he's headed to Hollywood. Pretty safe to say he'll be in the next movie. Like who else do you want in the next movie? Like who do you think we get? Who's on your dream roster? Give me a couple characters or one character, doesn't matter.
You want to go first, Zach?
I want to see Noob Saibot. I want to see him in there.
I mean, I think they set it up. Sub-Zero is Noob Saibot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Homeboy's dead, that's a good way for him to come back, kind of, sort of, So, I agree. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I can't wait.
He kind of comes out of
obviously-
smoke too when he shows up too. Like
Right? That's what I was. Oh man, that looks so badass too when he comes out of that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I also like for me, it's obviously Johnny Cage, which we know is going to happen. So, I'll save that. But Kitana, for me, like, she was one of my favorite characters. And she's actually one of the better characters in the original movies, too.
got to see her fan. That's all we got in this one. Her fan was on the display case. That was it.
Yeah, so I definitely want to see Kitana,
RoboCop.
and was it Cyrax? Cyrax, the yellow robot.
Yeah,
thing?
Cyrax is the yellow one. Yep.
Would be cool too.
Kratos.
And then of course I want to see the return. I want to see the Montaro from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the same guy with the same horns. I want that guy. I want that guy in this movie.
His spirit Halloween horns.
Yeah. yes, with his little just
Oh my God.
yeah, and more importantly, like I want to see Shang Tsung and Raiden get down. Like they use a lot of powers to just do side stuff, but I want to see them get after it. 100%. They
give me
need to.
fucking Count Dooku versus Yoda. You know what I mean? Like like at the end
Oh
of
hell yeah!
like that's what I want to see. Like where it's like the first time I feel like in Star Wars where like you see like you've heard Yoda's powerful and like that's such a great moment because you get to like actually like see him in action. You're like holy shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool.
I thought the casting choice for the two was kind of odd because like I feel like the actor that plays Raiden has more of the villain look and the other guy has more of the the protagonist hero type. Like I've seen him in other movies before and that's kind of the role he plays. For him to play like the villain. I had a hard time seeing him as threatening as the OG Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Shang Tsung. That dude was scary as hell. Your soul is mine. But
He still does it for the video games. He's the mocap actor. Did you know that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Like
cool.
I found that guy significantly more threatening as a villain than this one. Um, Maybe because I just saw him in Mulan, right? I think he's the dad in Mulan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's
So
Kerry Fukunaga, I think is his name. The
I'm
actor.
pretty sure. I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not
This which
confusing
dude?
him.
Which
But
dude?
the guy who plays Shang Tsung
In
in
the
this movie, I
OG.
think, is the
Is
dad in
it's the
the.
same
Oh,
dude?
oh, never mind. I thought you were talking about
It's the
like
same dude who plays remember the Dark Knight, the banker in the Dark Knight, the one who's
oh,
like,
I'm
and he
very good
knows
at
how to make.
calculation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
Let me see
yeah, that's
here.
him.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Oh, let me look him up just so I make sure I'm not talking out of my ass.
I thought you were talking about the OG Shang
And he was
Shang
just
Tsung
in
stuff.
something else too. What was he just in? Oh no, he's gonna be the Mandarin.
Interesting.
And then dude, did you see the fucking trailer for that movie?
Yes, Shang-Chi.
I'm super wrong, by the way. No, he's not the guy that plays
Oh
Shang
my
Tsung. So
god, I'm sorry
take
to
that back.
go like off topic real quick, but that was probably one of the best trailers for a Marvel movie I've seen. And like that trailer got me so hyped.
It's cool. Like I want to definitely when like Adam's on here, like we can do like a more like uh deep dive. But yeah, like it's clear that like with like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then like Shang Chi, that like they're um not afraid to like break the mold a little bit and do like some new and interesting stuff, which is cool. I'm sure there'll still be some of the Marvel,
Oh, of course.
formula in there, but like a kung fu movie, like yeah, give me that like all day. Um,
But
so
back to Mortal Kombat real quick.
yes, give me a couple characters. Like who do you want, man?
I
In
want
part two,
besides Noob, I want to see Shao Kahn. I want to see Baraka,
Baraka. Yep.
and I want to see Quan Chi.
Okay.
Those are
Nice.
my big ones.
Katana and Baraka are my two choices, which you guys already said. But like, yeah, those are Mortal Kombat 2 is like one of my favorite like games like ever. Like I remember playing that, like wearing it out like at the arcade. Like as far as fighting games, I'll say. And like even like there was like one kid at like my like summer like camp that had a Game Gear, and like we like fucking all bring batteries to make sure that shit was always like able to be played. And like during like free periods, like when we weren't doing like activities, like we would just fucking hang out and play like the Game Gear version, which is kind of shitty. Like the frame rate was awful. Like thinking back at it, the sound effects were kind of crummy, but like it was just to have that portable was a blast. Like because everyone like wanted to learn the fatality moves and all that kind of good stuff. This is actually watching this movie made me want to like. So I think Mortal Kombat 10 or X or whatever is on Game Pass, and I'm like, how I just download this and like crank it down to like normal and it's just to like play through the plot and like have some fun because it's been ages.
Yeah.
So I guess final verdict: everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, like just don't go in expecting like that you're gonna see like a Marvel film, like
Yeah,
like
definitely not.
it's not.
Final verdict scale of up to 10. What are you guys at?
Oh, I hate doing review scores for something like this because it's like
Got to. Hey, it's not about like you're not comparing it to
I know
all your all-time favorites. It's your
7.
entertainment level.
Oh, entertainment level for me is
Just for
probably
you,
like
like, did you enjoy it, man?
yeah.
Did you
Oh,
enjoy
but I
it?
mean,
How much?
entertainment level, like, so if I'm just doing that, like, this is like a solid 8 for me. Like yeah, solid 8, 8.5. like if I'm putting like a score, like looking at everything else, it's probably like firmly in the 7 category. Like still good, but like
Yeah. I'm rounding up. I was at like a 6.9, but I'm gonna go with a 7. Uh yeah, it's a solid 7 for me, man. Like it hits the mark on Mortal Kombat, on the fighting. The fatalities are fucking great, man. I mean, they were so good. Um, and it
favorite
was fun.
fatality. Mine was Kung Lao's, like for sure. Like
Oh, 100%.
that was
When he
Kung
says it,
Lao's
well that and like just
flawless
like
victory.
the fact that like
Yeah.
the hat's like spinning, like like it just
yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
that one was pretty sick, man. I mean, they were all good. I feel like it would have been Scorpions for me if he had actually burned him to a fucking crisp.
Yo,
But he
that
didn't,
that
you know?
reminds me though. I was kind of like wondering if they were gonna how they would do
the
him pulling
skull.
off his mask. And usually he pulls the whole thing in the game. He pulls the whole
Mhm.
thing off, and it's a whole skeleton. But I was pleased with how he just pulled it off, and it was just the way they did it. I was pleased with
Yeah.
it. 'Cause it's
I'm
like I feel like that's hard to pull off in the having them be human the way they were, and like so it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. Yeah, I thought it was all pretty good. That was cool with that, But hopefully Cole Young turns it around, and Johnny Cage fills that Kano role. So here's the thing, right?
Dream casting for him.
Do you? Oh, for me, it would be. It's impossible. Like, they couldn't afford him, but Ryan Reynolds would be the perfect Johnny Cage, in my opinion.
he would,
He
yeah,
he
he would
would
ham that up.
he would kill that role, But I can't think of
He's
somebody.
been taking the piss with advertising. You see that?
No, no, no.
Like on
What do you mean?
Twitter, like he's definitely leaning into like all the people saying they wanted him and that there's like rumors that he had been in the talks. Like he posted for one of his products, like I think it's Mint Mobile, where it was like a fatality screen where like he's standing like with the old background of like a Mortal Kombat game or whatever. People were like, "Oh my
I
god!"
didn't
Like,
even think of him, man, but he
Dude,
would be awesome.
he would be a great Johnny Cage. He would fit it perfectly. He can obviously carry a movie just like Kano did this one. And obviously he's got the wit to make it really funny, and like he is that character. He very much could pull it off. I mean, he'd be very expensive is the issue. I don't know what their budget looks like and how successful this is. Obviously, this is not going to be as successful because they didn't, because COVID and whatnot. But that could also like landing someone like him, and if they shift away from your Cole Young to a Ryan Reynolds, Johnny Cage, like that could be what puts this movie into like superstardom, if the plot is solid as well. That could be the difference between being this being a fun movie and this being like a fucking mega blockbuster type thing, if they manage to pull something like that off.
I saw a couple people say Zach Efron, who I think could do pretty good, and The Miz, who I think would do pretty good.
Oh, I heard
actually.
about that one. The Miz. I just can't take that guy seriously. But
That's
I
the
guess
whole
that
point,
is-
right? You can't.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I would now that you said him, like that's all I'm gonna think about because he looks
Yeah.
perfect.
I mean, it's literally that. I mean, it would it would fit so great. Do you guys think that all those characters are coming back? Because to me, I thought only the ones that they showed kind of portaling out with the smoke. They showed Goro, Sub-Zero, and I think one other character that
Kano.
actually was.
They got
Kano
Kano.
did it. Kano didn't go out with smoke.
Are you
And
sure?
Yeah,
I have
like
to go back and watch.
he
that.
didn't.
Because
I
he hasn't gotten his medal.
I know he hasn't, but he's dead because that's how Sonya got the mark.
Yeah,
they,
I
they
feel
could
like
pull
if you
some weird shit to
you
bring him
take it into
back,
the
but
underworld, you can.
but I'm pretty sure it was only a couple of them, like the ones he brought with him or something. That like I know Sub-Zero and Goro definitely faded out away with smoke, but I knew it wasn't everyone. But I don't know.
Now,
I don't-
hopefully, Goro just comes back fucking pissed and just now, like you were saying, just fucks shit up.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what does happen with part 2.
I'm excited.
Let's move into some game discussion. So I'm gonna do a review roundup really quickly with Returnal. None of us have played the game. It's out tomorrow. We're not that big of a podcast yet to get those codes, but hopefully someday. Currently on Metacritic, Returnal sits at 86. If you're not familiar with the concept of Returnal, it is a roguelike formula game mixed with like third person action adventure, not action adventure, sorry, third person shooter, in a sci-fi horror context. So it is a, um, if you imagine a Hades or Dead Cells, but just like third person action with heavily alien vibes, like that, like you're pretty close to the mark. 86 is pretty good. A lot of
Really
the
good.
it got a few like perfect scores. Not from anybody like super. I mean, Game Rant, I guess, is probably the most well known outlet that gave it a high score. A lot of like low to mid nines, and then like pretty much everything else, with the exception of a few outlets, are kind of in the like the eights. There's a couple of like sevens. I'll pull a couple quick quotes here, and man, I'm just so excited for this game. Like I absolutely cannot wait to play it. Like this is completely my jam right here. Um, so let's do a quote from Push Square. Housemarque has delivered the PS5 promise with Returnal. All the console's bells and whistles enhance the experience, making this a real showpiece for the hardware. But more than that, the game is a force to be reckoned with. The breathless combat, super slick gameplay, and the subtle but unsettling story combine for an experience of surprising scale. Roguelite aspects mean it won't gel with everyone, but for those looking for a addictive arcade shooter, this comes highly recommended. So like all that stuff, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Like, please give me. Kind of on like the moderate side, IGN, USA gave it an 8 or an 80. The moment of to moment gameplay of Returnal is sublime, with a great selection of weapons that each have a wide variety of interesting possible traits, meaningful strategic decisions that can either keep a run afloat or doom it to the sink, and punishingly challenging yet rewarding gunplay that is consistently exhilarating. Even with all of this focus on action, it never drops the ball in the story. Its big issue is that runs last way too long, and there's no way to save progress outside of putting the PS5 in rest mode. That saps the desire to immediately return and try again after a failure, though not enough to grind it to a halt. Even so, Returnal is an incredible roguelike and one of Housemarque's best games to date. And then finally, on the lowest end, GamesBeat gave it a 60. This lack of variety in the style of play makes every run feel samey, and they begin to blur together. That leads to a roteness and made me want to put down the game when I was struggling with the difficulty. I like challenging games, but roguelites need to walk a fine line between familiarity and routine. Familiarity is the warm embrace of something that feels like home. Routine is boredom, and it's poison for a game like this. So it gives you a little bit of a spectrum of like the opinions. The long run times are definitely like what I saw as like the most consistent criticism. 90 minutes is the average run. So it does not seem like the kind of uh Hades, like where it's like you could clear this in like 20 minutes. Like once you get it down, it's very much like you know a grander scale. It's AAA, like big. So I can see that being a knock against it. Like one of my favorite things about roguelites is that like you get into that kind of rhythm, and it is that one more, one more, one more. So I'll be interested to see like how how I approach this game. Like if it's just like one run a night and I'll be done, or if I'll want to do like at least two or something like that. Like 3 hours is like a long time for like just having two runs in a game of this genre. But I'm very excited. Like the technical side, like having a showcase game, like it has me very excited. Because I feel like so far, like we've discussed this on the podcast, like next gen, like we haven't really felt that next gen where it's like this couldn't run on the prior. Like it's a prettier version of what runs on the prior, but like this is something that can only run there. Are you guys excited for this?
I'm excited for one thing and one thing only. I don't know much about the game. I'm gonna play it, but the thing I'm excited about is this. I think it's the first game that doesn't make us pick between ray tracing and 4K. Sorry,
Frame rate.
sorry, and 60 frames per second at
Yes.
4K. That is, which is like what I've been waiting for. Like this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. The amount of games that are making you pick between the two. Like I didn't, the consoles are capable of doing both. Make it happen. Make it work. So I'm very, very excited to play a graphically intense and like also a heavy performance game, like a game that's going to look
Fluid.
beautiful and be incredibly fluid at the same time. So I'm expecting this to deliver the top-notch gameplay. Not I mean 90 minutes seems rough for a roguelike.
And
My
I think
only
that's like
experience is
that's going
Hades,
to the
you know?
end. Like, granted,
Yeah.
like that's like obviously you're gonna have runs that are probably way
Yeah,
shorter.
I worry about it because I feel like I'd be on the longer side because of my only experience is Hades, and just in general gameplay, I'm more like for that kind of stuff, like sweaty stuff. I'm not quite as aggressive. I'm a little bit more careful and methodical with that. So I could see my runs being on the longer end of the spectrum. So yeah, it would suck to just get one run in. It seems like you're gonna be 1 to 2 max, but that isn't a game that you're gonna keep going at it. And I hope that it doesn't make it exhaustive. But
If it makes you
um,
feel any better, the average clear time that I was seeing for like your first like escape is like 20 hours. Like
that I'm not worried about. But
like that. But I mean like
yeah.
that. See, like if each run's an hour and a half and 20 hours is like where most people are like getting their first
Yeah, it
clear,
means
like
like in 10 runs you're figuring it out already.
which is like okay, like at least they like balanced it that way. Where like
Right.
if you had to get 25 clears, like that would be a problem, to
Right.
escape the first time. So
Yeah, that's fair.
okay, that's it. We'll have impressions on that next week. I know, like, I think I may actually, depending on how I feel, I have my second vaccine shot tomorrow. Like, I may try to stream a little bit, and I'll definitely be playing it regardless, like a lot between now and next week's show. So we'll give some impressions on that really soon. Speaking of impressions, Zach and George have played Second Extinction, which is live now on Xbox Game Pass, and I think it's in preview, right? Like
Yeah,
technically, like it's
it is.
considered game preview on Xbox. What do we think, fellas? I saw some clips from George, very funny
Oh,
stuff. Looks
so
cool.
yeah, it's fucking wild, man. So it is perfect Game Pass game. It is not good enough to be to pay for. That's for sure.
Set it up
Sorry.
for our viewers that don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs pretty much seems like to sum it up, but you guys would know better than me.
Yeah, I haven't gotten too deep into Left 4 Dead. I've played it minimally. Maybe Zach can chime in on that a little bit more. For me, uh, it's perfect for me. Like I wouldn't say like I feel like the game itself isn't compelling enough to be shoving out $60 for, but as for a preview, it's just a taste of the game. I think it's pretty fun. It's on Game Pass, PC, and Xbox. Unfortunately, no cross play. I think there might be cross progression because I saw something about like linking accounts and stuff, but don't quote me on that. But there's definitely no cross play, which is disappointing. Um, what I like, why it's good for me. This game I think has no story. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Like you just jump right in that shit and you're just in missions out there shooting dinosaurs and all kinds of crazy shit. Which is for what I heard about the game. I'm like, I'm cool, man. Like I just wanna get in there and just kind of shoot them up. It is. It's basically, yeah. I guess maybe it is built like Left 4 Dead. You have heroes, right? And each one you can kind of customize the guns that they have. There is XP, things that you can, and kind of like a skill tree to an extent where you can kind of upgrade some stuff and focus on certain things and whatnot, which is kind of cool. I don't know what the end game for something like that would look like because it's not a looter shooter. So for it to have like XP is the incentive just to do like being able to do it in a harder version. I don't know. Um, as far as the gameplay, the game first the game looks beautiful, right? It looks really really nice. I love the night missions where like you have this haze of night where it's very difficult to see, but it looks supernatural. Like that's how it would be to be hunting dinosaurs in the middle of the night. So you definitely get the vibe where the elements in terms of day and night have an impact on the game for sure. This game has a lot of potential with its gunplay. There is almost no aim assist, if any at all. Um, but the gunplay is incredibly smooth. It's very reactive. It feels really good, but there's only one problem, and that problem is massive. There is input delay in this game. And this is me playing on console with a wireless Elite Series 2. But everybody said that in the that I was playing with. There is a very slight input delay. Like if you're, I don't know, a couple milliseconds, but it's noticeable to the point that it hurts the fluidity of the game because the game actually looks and feels so smooth, but there's fucking delays in your movement, and you know, only like a split second is enough for it to be noticeable, especially for someone that plays as many like competitive type games. And it is a bummer for sure. They need to fix that as soon as possible, because it is, if you come from playing any other FPS, you will notice it immediately. You'll get used to it and then you adjust, but it is fucking noticeable, and it shouldn't happen. So hopefully that they get that fixed. The dinosaur fights are real cool. They're very limited. I did two missions, and I ran into obviously a T-Rex, Triceratops, and Ankylosaurus, the one with the big tail, whatever,
Club tail, yeah.
and a couple of raptors, and that's it. That's the extent of dinosaurs that I ran into. Like some variants of those raptors are small ones, but some again, it's a preview, but some disappointments. I didn't see any flying dinosaurs, which is unfortunate. Pterodactyls seemed like would have been a given for a game like this. Would have been had a cool dynamic. I don't see any vehicle usage, but you move very fast, much faster than normal human speed. The dinosaurs are mutated, I believe, right, Zach? And I think we have some
they are.
powers as well. So I don't see any vehicle usage or anything like that. The game, connection wise, is stable, at least from what I saw. Take some pointers, fucking Outriders, but there's definitely a lot of jankiness going on with some of the games. Sometimes you shoot some dinosaurs and they just start fucking shooting up in the sky, floating out of the, I don't know, out of the planet. At the end of a mission that we were in, we had to get into a drop ship, right? And obviously, while you're being swarmed by all kinds of dinosaurs, and we all thought we were disconnecting, but we weren't. We were still in the party chat. It looked like we were all disconnecting. All of the dinosaurs were lagging, like they were walking into walls, like they were frozen in place, kind of running like if they were on treadmills and stuff. It was super weird. And then we kept getting kicked out of the dropship that we were trying to get into. So it looked like the game was lagging, but there was no connection issue. It was super weird. And it took like a good 5 minutes to fix itself while we were trying to play through it, which was unfortunate. But other than that, the game played pretty well and was pretty smooth. I played it for like 2 hours or so, and it made for a pretty interesting stream. That's what put me over the hump, honestly. With I had some new people that came into the stream for the first time, which was cool. But yeah, I mean, it's enough of my thoughts. What did you think, Zach?
Yeah, I really enjoyed myself with it. I thought it was pretty fun. It pretty much is Left 4 Dead, right? With dinosaurs, I think there's like 5 heroes right now. Each one's got their own unique abilities that they bring with them, and you drop in and they'll give you a mission, go here, do this objective, and then whatever, part 2 of the mission, go here, do this objective, and then escape. And it's simple, it's fun, it's the idea of just dropping in and killing dinosaurs is awesome, and they do that really well. Like George was saying, there's not a huge variety in the dinosaurs right now, which is unfortunate, but there's wide enough variety in the variations of those monsters, of those dinosaurs that they do have. Like I've fought like 3 or 4 or maybe like 2 or 3 different triceratops and like 2 or 3 different of the club tail ones, and then various different raptors, and then the T-Rex. So yeah, like I'm assuming it says as soon as you log into the game, that this game is actively in development. You're experiencing the game as it's being developed pretty much, and you're experiencing problems and things will be added. So like when the game launched was the launch of their pre-season 4. So they're not even calling anything like season 1 yet or anything. So I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to add more dinosaurs and all that to the game, because yeah, I feel like if you are continuously just seeing these same dinosaurs mission after mission after mission, yeah, that would kind of get a little bland.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I guess like in their defense. Like the original Left 4 Dead had what, boomers, smokers, hunters, tanks, and witches. Like there's 5 variants, right? The little it seems less excusable like when it's dinosaurs because there's so much to like you don't have to like create like a fictional like never before seen like variant, but also I'm sure that doesn't make it any like less difficult to program for and balance, right? Like you can completely change the dynamic of a map if you like throw something that's too powerful or it just doesn't work. So
Yeah, and it's like you were saying, like you as you kill dinosaurs, you pick up dinosaur parts and everything, and that's how you are able to upgrade your weapons. You have to spend research in order to upgrade your weapons, and like one character's got a minigun. Well, 2 characters do, and like you could eventually power it up to, instead of overheating, it'll shoot fire shots instead of overheating, and
seems useful.
you can like hold left trigger to zoom in, and then you can eventually level it up to where it'll start rotating when you hold left trigger. So as soon as they come, it just starts firing right away. So, but it caps how much you can have on each weapon. So you can't make any one weapon like just insanely powerful. So and it's hard, man. Like we're only playing on me and my buddy are only playing on normal right now. But like if you get overrun by a ton of them, man, like and you're out of ammo and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and it's tough. So it's you gotta try and be smart with your ammo and all that. They do, there's ammo, they got ammo drops. Characters can bring um equipment drops and ammo drops that they can throw down, and ammo will fall from the sky. But yeah, I've been waiting for it, man. I've been just waiting to get in there and shoot up a bunch of dinosaurs, and in that aspect, they do it really well.
It sounds like a perfect Game Pass game, like the type of thing that this like that Game Pass was built for. Like, like yeah, you have your big like first party exclusives and like the occasional like cool third party game, but this seems like the thing that probably is going to do a lot better like than it would have otherwise, just by virtue of being on Game Pass. And
I'm hoping that through because it's in game preview, by the time that it's reached season 1, which I'm assuming is the launch of the actual game, maybe everything that's been added to it will make it worth the $60 that if they are going to charge people for this game. I don't know if it's going to get a physical release, or even if it is digital, like hopefully by the time they're finished on the preview program, there's enough content in there to make
can
it
you
worth it.
currently purchase on the Microsoft store like in game preview? Does anybody know like what the cost?
I'm not sure. I actually haven't even checked.
I can Google it really fast.
It's a good question.
Second Extinction Xbox. All right.
I think you can pay for it.
I would imagine so if it's in game preview. Let's see. This is on the official Xbox.
On Steam. It's on Steam.
Get it now on Game Pass. I'm trying to look for a
Steam
price.
for $25.
Okay.
Oh, that's a perfect price.
With a discount to like 18, it's right at 25% off to like $18. So yeah,
25 is even. I feel like even in the state it's in now, $25.
Also 25 on Xbox.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, for sure. Like that.
I was curious.
That game is delivering enough content to spend $25 in.
Especially if they're going to keep adding more, right? So it's just going to keep getting better. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
Let me ask you guys a quick question about that, right? Because we've seen a little bit of this before, particularly with Game Pass. You also saw this with Grounded as well, which is has developed a little bit of a niche cult following. Fun little game. What do you guys think about that? Do you expect to see more of this game preview type stuff? Like, do you think this is a way of like kind of putting a game out there that is still has some issues?
Yes.
How do you guys feel about it?
Yes. I mean, I think as long as you market it the right way and price it appropriately, like it's a great way to put out a games as a service or like something close to a games as a service. Like this doesn't seem like it is necessarily, but like it's a living game. Like you can put out a game that's a living game. We'll put it that way. And like the reception is going to be a lot warmer because you're telling people up front, like, hey, like this isn't like the final vision of the product. Like it's going to change and like get polished as we go along. But like, I think kind of the damned if you do, damned if you don't with those types of games is like, it's so hard, like in like limited playtesting, to find out things that like would make the game better, whether it's like squashing bugs or balancing the game. So by putting it out to the public and charging like a much cheaper price, or putting it on Game Pass and labeling it as game preview and being open about that, you get a lot of playtesting, like a lot of playtesting, and people get to kind of check something out early. So I like it. I think it's just all about how you market it and label it, and like I said, probably most importantly, like how you price it.
I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Like I agree with you. It gives, developers an opportunity to get a game out there into the audience's hand and get the audience's feedback, right? Not their QA department, right? So it's really good in that aspect, but you also, so especially if it's a like, I don't want to say a knock on Grounded, because that's not right, but I feel like Grounded isn't as approachable and as Second Extinction, right? A lot more people, I feel like, would gravitate towards Second Extinction. Dinosaurs go in, just jump in, shoot, instead of having to craft and build and do all that.
At the
and Grounded.
at the time, yes, but I feel like since Grounded has come out, that survival type game has kind of really gotten popular. That I feel like if Grounded had just come out now, it would be a little bit more popular than it was when it did. I feel like,
don't forget,
don't
like
know.
a lot of people do, but don't forget, like Minecraft is like still one of the biggest like phenomenons, like
Yeah.
most successful like video games, like in terms of
I mean,
sales.
very
like,
true.
Like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
but Grounded also would have done much better if it was finished game, because that was, so when it comes to comparing apples to apples and game previews, like, oh, Second Extinction shits on Grounded because the Grounded preview was very limited. Like you're talking about like a couple hours of gameplay before you peaked. Unless you wanted to go and oh, do you guys want to see my wife on stream on the show? This time she's dropping off
literally
food
with a Swiffer. With a Swiffer, she is just swifted.
He doesn't want to be on again.
Oh, now you gotta tune in. I
gotta
don't
clip
know
that. Oh my
time wise,
God.
but like we're probably like 45, 50 minutes
Oh
into the
my God.
podcast.
So
Yeah.
it should be good.
Come into the YouTube video and watch that.
But yeah, so this is actually a much more in-depth game. Grounded lost me personally because of how short it was, and the remaining content that was going to come out for it took too long for me to keep interest on it. So there's that.
Yeah, I also think like you suffer the chance of like it coming out and a lot of people trying it, right, and it not being that great right away, and a lot of people fall off and don't come back. So like that's the thing that I feel like could potentially I don't want to say kill a game, but dampen its chances of being as successful as it could have been.
You have to have a plan. I think you have to have a plan, which it seems like Second Extinct. Fuck, man, it's English is my second language. This game has a plan. I've seen their development team in terms of feedback is super involved. They're very, very open in welcoming feedback of any kind. They've set up all
They got a
these things for you to
roadmap already
report.
too.
Yeah. So I feel like you can do this game preview if you have your next several steps laid out. I don't know if Grounded thought that far ahead, because like you've got enough content for me to like be interested in the game. And if you got a plan where you can kind of keep me busy as you develop the game, like keep me coming back, with a consistently, then it can work. But yeah, I think there is definitely a wrong way to do this preview. And it's if you're just like, all right, let's put out what we have so far and we'll just figure it out, that's a recipe for disaster. So
yeah. Good time to remind you that one of our games of the year last year, we had a 2-way tie. If you're unfamiliar,
was
Hades.
a game preview.
It was an early access game, like on PC.
All right, real quick, just while we brought Hades up, man, I put about I don't know, at least 15 hours into the game, right?
Tread lightly, man.
I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. It's
Eh,
not pulling me in like everybody said it was going to.
Have you beat it? Have you beaten it yet? Have you cleared it?
No, I haven't.
You just need to get good, man.
yeah,
Nah,
well,
it's
I will
not even
say
that aspect. Like
I will
it's
say once you clear it, like that's where like the story like really starts, and like that's where the hooks were. Like it was enough for me to get pulled along, like to just be like, I want to just get my first clear. I don't know if I'm gonna do like the 10 clears to finish the story because it seems so insurmountable. They come much faster like once you do it the first time, and then like you know, uh,
even the gameplay loop though. It's not.
yeah,
It's
maybe
Well,
not
you
just
playing it
pulling
on the
me.
Switch?
I'm playing, huh?
You playing it on the Switch?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man. If 15 hours in it doesn't have you, I don't think
yeah,
it's
may
going
just
to
not be
get
for
you.
you, man.
You
That's
know,
okay.
it might
That's
not be
why
your
like
thing.
I was interested in Returnal, right? And then they were like 90-minute runs, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I
no,
have no interest
15
in
hours is
not being able to play a different game at the
yeah,
same time.
Yeah,
15 hours is more than enough for you to give that game a fair shot. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it.
I'm
Those type
definitely
of
gonna
games might
keep
not be.
playing it, right? I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's definitely not. It's good. It's what's the word? It's subjectively, right? A great game.
yeah.
And it's
Did you ever
just
play Dead Cells or Binding of Isaac, or like did any of those ever gel with you?
nope.
Okay. So this is like your kind of your first foray into like roguelites. Like
Yeah, other
it's
than
not for
Risk of
everybody. Some
Rain,
people hate them, man. Like
Risk of Rain 2 is my only like the one that's gelled with me the most, and it's I feel like it's much different than Hades. I feel.
that's how I
But
felt
yeah,
about Spelunky too. It got tens, and like I don't even think I finished the stream. That I think I swapped games like halfway through the stream, and I was like, man, like this isn't for me. Like
I'm gonna do it though. I will beat it for sure, and I'm going to beat it all the way through to complete the story, right? Because I
okay,
want to
yeah,
see everything through to the end for sure. It's just
it does
I
go
just wanted to bring
faster.
up that, man. Like it didn't grip me the way it gripped you guys, unfortunately. But who knows? Like maybe like you guys said, maybe when I get past the first completion or whatever, hopefully it's I.
Yeah, there. I don't want to like spoil stuff for you, but yeah, there's some stuff that like keeps it interesting, like for sure. Well, we're kind of running low on time. If we want to keep this to an hour, do you want to
Yeah.
give some quick thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we'll wrap up. Like, we'll probably do some spoilers like up through the second to last episode. So if you're listening, same warning. If you haven't gotten at least that far, pause, come back, and there's your warning. So I really liked this show. I binged it all. Like I waited till like the everything but the last episode was out, kind of like Zach did with the Mandalorian, and I watched it like a couple episodes like a night leading up to the finale, and it worked really well for me in that regard. Like pacing wise, like I didn't have a lot of the same issues that some people had, where it's like, oh, this was kind of slow here and there, and it dipped. Like I didn't feel that. Um, I think it tackles some really really like serious like social issues like very well, and I think that's one of the strongest things that the show has going for it, like in particular like issues of race in America, right? Like it's got that front and center. In like it's the emotional core of the show, and I think in that regard it does a really really good job. I think where for me it doesn't work so well is that like it's a little all over the place, like with like it bites off I think more than it can chew, we'll put it that way, for like a 6 episode like 6 hour story. Like there's a lot going on, and I think that like instead of having like one really tightly focused great like story, outside of the story of Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, like it tries to do a lot, like, and I don't think it's overly successful with any of the other plots. Like I love Zemo, but I feel like he gets sidelined a lot, like, and that storyline gets sidelined. I think the Flag Smashers thing could be interesting, but again, like, because it's trying to do a whole lot, it's not as interesting as it could be. So yeah, like, I mean, overall I would say that like I liked it like a lot, but it's not like top tier MCU, and I think that's okay, because what it does well, like, it's um is different. Like it's probably the most socially aware MCU like thing so far, and for that I give it high marks. Like that they're not straying away from that. I'll turn it over to you. Those are my broad strokes here. Broad stroke thoughts.
I'm up to. I haven't seen the finale, but I mean, obviously, it's pretty. And I mean, I've had it spoiled, but it was pretty obvious leading up to Sam Wilson becoming Captain America. No surprise there. It. I will say I enjoyed the season. I think it's pretty good. I don't care much for the Flag Smashers and Carly. I don't find her compelling whatsoever. Definitely needs a little bit more Zemo. That Zemo's arc was good, short. Sharon Carter also really good too. But I don't really care much for Carly and the Flag Smashers in general. Don't really find them interesting. Um, I haven't seen the last episode yet, so I don't know if there's a something that moves the overall plot more. But I will say that this little mini series is kind of like a wasted story, in my opinion, if you think about it. Because I mean, Endgame ends with what's his name? Holy crap! Steve Rogers handing the shield over to Sam Wilson. So I mean, at that point, we thought he was going to become Captain America. So this entire series was him rejecting it and then accepting it. So like I feel like it doesn't like this was to me so far, unless the sixth episode does something significantly different. This is the definition of a series filler. It does tackle some important issues. It does have some nice development for Bucky, I think, and for Sam Wilson, and makes them more personable, more like something you could gravitate more. It does a lot of building for them too. But in terms of the overall plot of the MCU, like it is kind of filler. It doesn't really move anything forward. It's like two steps back to maybe take another two steps forward. So you kind of end up being in the same place with a bit more development, a lot more development.
I don't want to like spoil like the final episode. I can't remember if it's this if it's the stinger or not, like kind of the post credit scene. I don't remember what that was, but there's definitely like it does set up like a very important thing, which is good. Like it's not earth shattering, but I felt a little bit warmer on that regard. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Bucky because like it's worth like mentioning that like it's as much
huge
his
for
story.
Bucky,
like like there's kind of dealing with like having to live with the consequences. Like even though he's not like the Winter Soldier anymore, like he still has those memories and like he lived through those experiences. It's not like that's just wiped and like what a tough thing like to have to go through.
That scene in Wakanda, man, was so powerful with him, where she was reading his trigger words and he was just sitting there and he started bawling his eyes out. Man, that scene was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I enjoyed the season. And if there's something in the sixth episode that makes it move forward, it's still a little disappointing for me because it's just a lot of just backstory development. This is almost like an origin story in a sense, so it doesn't do a whole lot. I in some ways I enjoyed it more than WandaVision, but at least WandaVision sets up a lot more in terms of the overall story and where this is heading, than this one does. This one is a little bit of a step backwards in some ways. I would almost argue that this series should have played before WandaVision, because I feel like it would have been a better progression. We've had a whole lot of time without any MCU stuff that this would have been fine, and then the WandaVision kind of bringing us forward, and we'll see what happens with Loki's next, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll get Black Widow before Loki. Like
Black Widow,
in terms of like,
as far as TV series go,
we weren't supposed to.
Loki's
we weren't
next.
supposed to get Black Widow before we were.
Black Widow was supposed to be first before all of this.
Black Widow was supposed to be before all of this. That's true.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much that's going to, if they're going to overlap. But Black Widow is that's like a prequel technically, right?
I don't think we know exactly.
It has to be. It literally has to be.
We don't know. Like, they're setting up multiverse stuff. Like, so, it very well could just be, her in a different multiverse, right? Like, or a different universe. Like,
I thought they were gonna set up something where like her sister takes over or something.
That's
like
what I thought.
But we'll see. But either way, like that's kind of my only knock with it. But as a standalone series, entertaining, good, enjoyed it. Great fight scenes. Thought it was really cool. And I also like we got to give some credit to the guy that plays John Walker, because he could not have
people
been more
hated him,
hateable.
but I think
that's
like,
his
that's the
job.
point.
That's
Yeah,
his job.
like,
If you
he
fucking
killed it.
despised him as being Captain America, yes, part of it is because like there's only one Captain America, but it was also because he was such an unlikable fucking prick. So he did his job well. Like he's not getting enough credit, like, but yeah, he did a great job. Honestly, I thought arguably that dynamic was one of the strongest ones in the season.
I saw a great meme, and it was Steve
Ego?
Rogers, and it was like,
Oh,
I can do this all. Or just like a man when he's down, and it was Steve Rogers was like, I could do this all day, and then it was him, and it was like they didn't even have super soldier serum, and like that just shows you, because Steve said that when he was scrawny, and he was like, and like it just shows you the different like why like you go from Steve Rogers, the pinnacle of what like a good human being is, to that.
Yeah.
I saw a funny meme where it was like, he's got too much ego or whatever, and it was like a picture of Kurt Russell, who's that actor's like father. He's Kurt Russell's son. It's like, so I thought that was funny. What did you think of the show overall, Zach? Did you enjoy it? Like,
Yeah, I really liked it, and I actually I almost disagree with George entirely in the fact that it kind of walks the MCU back, because I think it tackles such a huge issue for what the snap did. And right, like there was these people there for 5 years living their lives, and then everyone gets snapped back, and now like all these people that were living that had I don't want to say, well, they had to suffer for 5 years, right, without knowing where their family, like everything, and to have everything be snapped back, and then all these governments come back and be like, yeah, sorry, but we're gonna just put things back exactly how they were before they left. Like that's a huge slap in the face to like that population. And
well,
I
they
think
talk
the
about
show,
like the issue of like, like George, like let's say he's in the snap, and like I'm just some random asshole that buys his house because he's gone. As far as everyone knows, he's
yeah,
never coming back. And then like he's back, like, and now I'm out on the street because like George is back, and like we're giving the house back to George because George he's back. Sorry, like that's technically still his house. Like how do you sort through all that, right? Like yeah, I mean it's a good point.
yeah, I thought it was great, right? Like because in a movie, in a 2-hour movie, you don't really have the time to explore that, right? Like we were saying about Mortal Kombat TV series versus
Yeah,
show, right? Like you don't have the time in the movie to explore, that side of of what just happened, right? Like that's a huge, obviously life altering, universe altering event, right? So it's I thought that was really cool. And then obviously the whole racial commentary and everything I thought was really well done. I think like the scene where Bucky and Sam are just talking in the street, and the cop comes up and just automatically just takes Bucky's side, pretty much, is like crazy. Like that's unbelievable. The fact that like they have to put that in a show to show that it exists in America today, like that, like it's unreal.
well, just acknowledging it, I think, is kind of more the thing, like and like um the scene in the bank again, like echoes of that, right? Where like he's getting denied for like the loan, and they're like, oh well, you're a superhero, can I get your autograph? Like I'm not going to help you out, but can I get your
Yeah,
autograph?
like
Like
yeah,
Don't get
yes,
paid shit.
yeah,
To be fair, like, yeah, maybe like I don't mean like that they were. It's a poor choice of words that they're like taking a step backwards, but like this shows a lot of important stuff. Like I'm not gonna deny that it shows a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of things that you may be wondering, like how the hell, what happened to all these people? How did they manage all these things? Obviously, the issues of race, like the aftermath of Steve Rogers, the impact that he had on the country or the world. It's just my thing is like it doesn't move the overall MCU plot forward significantly. I do have the one episode to go, but I feel like at least the first 5 episodes are very much a side story. I don't want to downplay the significance or the importance or how valuable that side story was, but it is a little bit of a side story, before we get back to moving this thing into what is it, whatever phase they're calling it now. Is this phase 2 or is this phase? I don't know.
no,
this
we're
is
on
phase
five.
5.
Phase
I
5? I don't know.
assume,
Or whatever. The
right?
next generation of this stuff, right?
Or is it
does.
4?
I don't. Yeah, I don't even know.
Wow.
But I didn't think that it moved it as much towards that as WandaVision did.
I
So
I definitely
that's
will
it.
agree with that aspect. Like
Yeah.
I like this in the sense of it's good, like, you know, it's good to, like, if you're watching like Age of Ultron, and then let's just say you don't see characters from Age of Ultron to Infinity War, right? Like you're
Right.
always wondering, I wonder like
Exactly.
what were they doing? So
Yeah.
like this, I feel like that's what this was, right? And you have to show you have to show the struggle of, you know, picking up, like stepping into those shoes, really, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that's Steve, like, and
Well, it's
shout
a
out to
TV
Chris
show.
Evans, man, who just
Yeah.
fucking destroyed this role of Steve Rogers, right? Like such a good human being. Like, how do you how do you top that? How do you how do you not even top it? How do you replicate that, right? Like,
Yeah.
how can you be as good as he was and be the image of Captain America
For sure.
that he was? So, and it was cool, you know, right? Just because in the comics they both become Captain America, so from it was kind of cool. Who's gonna take it? I mean, I think most people knew Sam, but like it's just cool because, right, like they have that internal battle with themselves. So
Yeah. To be fair, you're also comparing. I'm also comparing. You know, the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Well, now Captain America to Wanda, who's arguably going to be the most powerful being in the universe, definitely in the world, and the impact that she could potentially have, and the ramifications of anything that she does could have a significantly bigger impact than
because we don't know the
these
next
two
time we'll
particular guys.
see.
We don't
I'm sorry.
know.
I'm sorry, George.
No, you're good. No, no, it's right on the same thing. We don't know when we're gonna see them again, but Wanda looks to be like she's gonna be a big fucking deal, and it's gonna create some issues with how powerful she is. Like what she's capable of doing is gonna be a big issue. Whereas, I mean, unless I missed something, Sam
Well,
Wilson doesn't even have the super soldier serum. He's just a regular dude with some wings and a shield.
that's what's awesome about him.
Yeah.
Gee, that right? That's Batman, right? That's Iron Man. It's just it's not who I am underneath. It's what I do that defines me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pumped because I mean they said they're doing a fourth movie now, Captain America 4. So I'm super pumped to see. You know, I hope Bucky's in that. So I'm super pumped to see. I mean, now that he is Captain America and everything, like I'm so excited to see where they take him now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, what I don't want to say what happens at the end, but I think there'll be enough of like trailer crumbs for you to be like, all right, like I can kind of see like where like some of this would go.
Right.
Like it's no different. Like,
Madripoor is also Wolverine's favorite place.
is it nice?
It
Very
is.
cool. Well, I think that about does it for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Does anybody want to plug anything before we go?
Yeah, me real quick. I slept on Wolfenstein 2. I beat it. It's fucking awesome.
New Colossus?
It was yeah, it was I played like the first mission when it like first came out. And I don't know why I put it down. But yeah, man, I picked it back up and that game was just so good.
Yeah, one of the all-time great like shooter like campaigns for sure.
I heard what is it, Youngblood? It's kind of a little step back, but I'm still excited to play it after playing Wolfenstein 2. So I'm excited to see like Wolfenstein 3 now, like whatever that is. That's gonna be fucking
Xbox
awesome.
exclusive,
Yep.
maybe. We'll see.
We
George, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I guess I gotta plug the stream, right? Just hit affiliate today. You can find me on Twitch TV//War George 7. That's WARJORGE 7. As for what I've been streaming, I stream a little bit of everything. I know that a lot of people recommend finding like a niche and consistently streaming a game or two. That's just not ever going to be me. There'll be some games that are more stream friendly that I play, but I'm going to be playing a little bit of everything.
You're gonna stream Mass Effect?
Probably. I was actually thinking about it. I was on the fence. Do I just want that to be like an experience just myself?
Yeah.
I don't know how well RPGs do with that. Like I don't know how much people care to watch that, but we'll see. I might give it a go.
I think
I'm going to be playing a lot of that
opening like night, or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, I want to ask you guys just on the topic of Mass Effect. I always I've been telling myself, that I'm gonna go through, play it all different, right? But like, I'm gonna end up just going through and doing the same exact choices I
Do
picked
it.
every
Do
other
it.
time.
Do it, man.
I'm
Like,
going out Paragon.
yeah.
I want to I don't want to experience something new. I want to re-experience what I experienced the first time. That's what
I
I
was a
want.
dickhead, dude. I
Yeah.
was Renegade
I'm
1.
going Paragon, man. I got
I
to.
think 1 through 3. Besides like a few moments, like Morden, I had to let do his thing, like shit like that. But like,
Yeah.
Maybe I think I'll go same Paragon, and then maybe like a year to the day, a year from when I complete it, I will play it one more time and do Paragon, which I've never. I mean Renegade, which I
Renegade.
never
Yeah.
did.
yeah, dude, Renegade on Insanity.
So you can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rental Rush, hoping to bring back the actual Rental Rush show sometime soon now that things are loosening up a little bit with COVID. As far as what I've been playing, Loop Hero, I finally like cleared my second clear. It took me way longer. It's just a significantly harder boss with like a mechanic that just makes it a huge pain in the ass. But I've unlocked a lot of like extra cards and stuff that have made those runs easier. Still love it. It's a great game. I've probably put 30 hours into it easy. Um, good to pick up and put down. And Persona still working through, super long. I'm like 45 hours in, no end in sight. Don't care. A good time. I've also kind of just relegated that to like just a casual game. Like I'll play like an hour on my lunch break or like a couple hours on the weekend. I'm not really in a hurry, but uh, I definitely understand why people consider it to be like one of the best JRPGs ever made because it's really really good. And that about does it for me.
Did want to plug our plans for so Tuesday May 4th, Star Wars Day.
Yes.
We've got this big mega stream little event that we're doing, and viewers, listeners, you are all welcome to come out and play. We are trying with a couple of us very small time streamers are trying to organize a big squadrons custom game. Now that you can play custom games, the game is basically free, whether it's PC Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass. A lot of people should have access to it. So if anybody wants to come and just play, we all suck. We all haven't played the game in a very, very long time. It should be very, very sad and pathetic, but it should be fun because we should all be at equal skill levels. It'll be on some of our streams. So if you guys want to come out and play it, feel free to hop in any one of our chats or Discords. Send us a message. We hope to see people out there. We should be having a pretty big game. It should be cool.
Yep. Thanks for remembering to plug that. And then, of course, next week we'll be recording the next part in our Aliens versus Predator series. We watched Aliens on Alien Day, so 4/26. You can hear our impressions soon on that, our review. As a reminder, we will not be ranking them until the third episode, and then we'll check in every third episode after that. But I'm excited to record that. I already tweaked the intro to a little bit to include like the new music and stuff for part 2. So till next time, we love you. Thanks for hanging out. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, especially the share. We appreciate that. It means a lot. All right. Have a good night.
Peace.
Later.